Hey everyone, this is the Slasher Club, and this is our horror movie reviews where there's no measure when it comes to terror and entertainment. My friends, I hope you have your masks ready, because we are about to join the season of the witch. And if you guys haven't guessed it, we are doing Halloween 3 Season of the Witch from 1982, and Cameron will be giving you the synopsis.
Yes. So, although it is called Halloween 3, it is not connected to the prior two films. The main character is not Laurie Strode, it is Dr. Daniel Chalice, who has a patient who is mysteriously murdered in his hospital room, and it leads to a mystery that Dr. Chalice wants to solve, along with the daughter of that patient. They go to Santa Mira, I believe that's the name. Yes, it's a fictional city where there is a mask manufacturing company, and it's really about Dr. Chalice and Ellie, the daughter of the deceased, trying to piece this conspiracy together and get to the bottom of things. So it's not a straight-up slasher film. There are horror elements, but this is more of a conspiracy or a thriller.
Right, on to the cast. We have it directed by Tom Lee Wallace, who did not need doing it for the second film. Again, we have Deborah Hill and John Carpenter as producers. We have Tommy Lee Wallace writing this. Music is done by John Carpenter and Alan Howard, which this is a lot more robotic shit. And cinematography is done by the usual Dean Cundy, who's been with us since 1 and 2, and now he's in 3. What?
Oh, I was just going to say, yeah, pretty much most of the team that has been in the prior two films have continued on with this film. So it's interesting that although the production team never changed between the three films, we still, we have a very different film.
Right. We have Tom Atkins as Dr. Daniel Chalice, known for The Fog, Creepshow, Lethal Weapon, and My Bloody Valentine 3D. We have Stacey Nelkin as Ellie Grimbridge, Dan O'Hurla as Connell Cochran. We have Michael Curry as Raftery. We have Ralph Stratt as Buddy Cupford, the annoying neighbor character, I guess you could say, in the movie. We have his very dumb, superficial, bitchy wife, played by Jadine Barber, also known as Betty Kupfer. With their annoying touch-everything child, Brad Schechter as Buddy Kupfer Jr., Garn Steffens as Marge Gutman, the very nosy, or shall I say electric business owner. We have Al Berry as Harry Grumbridge, also known as Ellis's father. We have Wendy Wesberg as Teddy, the coroner, and on to the gore score.
The slasher stats, the gore scores for Paranormal Club. So yes, normally when a head is removed, we call that decapitation. But because in this film there are people that literally rip heads off of the bodies, I have decided to not call it decapitation, but head removal. All right, going from the top. Actually, I'm going to start from the bottom. We have one crushed body, one broken skull, one explosion, two head removals, one face blast, one gut punch, one fried brain, two deaths by snake bite, and 10 electrocuted for a total of, now this is a surprise to me, 20 deaths.
Actually, there was only one snake bite, if you keep in mind. The wife just had a heart attack.
Well, I know, but I'm assuming that she died eventually because those snakes and other pestilence, if you will, were crawling around the room. So I counted it as because I didn't want to leave it as an open end, so I'm just going to assume that she got bitten and died.
All right. Go on.
20 deaths. The 10 electrocution deaths are everyone of those that are like the scientists and the machines that are electrocuted with the blasts when Dr. Chalice drops those microchip things onto it. It causes kind of like an electrical storm, if you will, and they all get shocked to death. Counted them out. So
right. On to the favorite kills. Mine, surprisingly, is Harry needs a new skull. I mean, it was the most realistic death for me in this movie, other than you can have your head drilled in, but technically, I saw this as the one original kill in this movie. I mean, the guy digs into his eyes and rips through the nose just to crack the skull.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's brutal. Yeah.
And we actually get to see the whole thing, except for like an X-ray, because they didn't have technology during that time, sadly.
Yeah. No, that definitely is very chilling, especially for an opening kill.
Right. What about you?
This kill, I don't remember the character's name, but this kill haunted me when I was a kid because I saw this. I didn't see the full movie when I was a kid. I just caught part of it on late night TV, and my parents changed the channel after they saw the scene or whatever. But it's the woman in the hotel room that gets her mouth blasted open, and you see her teeth are almost all knocked out. Her lips have been completely melted away. She's in the hotel room, and then that giant, I think it's like a moth, crawls out of her mouth. I thought, that was such a brutal kill, especially for that time, 1983. It was very visceral.
I mean, I kind of gotta agree that's a good kill, but again, they played it off a little too unrealistic. It's like, I don't know how to describe it. It just didn't click with me, since this is supposed to be a Halloween movie. I mean, I get it's supposed to be an anthology, but meh.
Well, I hear what you're saying, because Halloween 1 and 2, for the most part, at least Halloween 1 and 2, were fairly realistic, or they tried to be realistic horror films. And Season of the Witch supposedly, has the paranormal, has magic elements to it. As Deborah Hill put it, it's witchcraft meets the computer age. And that's a huge departure from Halloween 1 and 2.
Right. Lee's favorite kill. Buddy dies by snake. I mean, come on. You want to make a good movie, and you kill someone off by having them bitten by a venomous snake? I mean, I don't even think a real person would die that quickly in a movie. I mean, it doesn't even look like the venom got to him at that time at all.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to make a horror movie, make it a little more realistic. I mean, at least show us him suffering instead of, oh, I got bit by a snake, let me fall over.
Yeah, like if he had been bitten multiple times, like let's say you had multiple snakes biting him, then that would make sense for him to kind of like keel over so fast. It's like his body is so full of the venom that he just passes out or whatever. But yeah, you're right. It was too quick for a snake bite.
And it's just completely dumb for a character. Yeah, he was supposed to be the annoying neighbor, but we got to know a little about him, and then they just kill him off in the most retarded way possible in this movie.
I hear you. But the way that the son, little Buddy or whatever, Buddy Jr., I thought his was pretty cool. You see like the mask kind of like melting onto his head, and so I thought that was pretty well done.
I mean, yeah, it was good, but it wasn't really what people came to see in this movie. I mean, they got that it was supposed to be witchcraft, but I mean, like a lot of people have mentioned, we go to Halloween movies to see the blood and gore. This, it's just a gross out film.
You know what they should have done was, even though this was just would have been a minor connection, I think some people would have been like, okay, there is at least a connection. Is that Michael Myers' mask had been made by Silver Shamrock? So all you have to do is show, like when they're doing the factory tour, is one or two masks that like the Michael Myers mask, and either someone picks it up or just having that there. That way it connects the universe. Because the documentary I watched on the Shout Factory Blu-ray, director Tommy Lee Wallace didn't consider the fact that that's what people wanted with Michael Myers. He's like, I remember going into the theater and, the audience is being upset saying, where's Michael? Where's Michael? And the production staff and Tommy Lee Wallace, they did not predict that. They didn't think that the audience had grown such an attachment to Michael Myers, but he really is the driving force behind the Halloween films.
Right. I mean, again, Friday the 13th for Jason, Nightmare on Elm Street for Freddy, Texas Chainsaw Massacre for Leatherface, so you gotta expect, of course they're going to look at Michael Myers as the pinnacle of the Halloween movies. I mean, come on! Use your head next time.
Yeah, I don't fault them for trying something different. What I do fault them for is not connecting the universe. Like, for instance, in the Friday the 13th films, we have Pamela Voorhees as the killer for one film. We have Roy as the killer for another. However, even though there are two different killers in the franchise, Jason is still present. You have Tommy Jarvis, still dealing with the trauma of having fought off Jason. So this film would have done a little bit better if they would have just at least connected it to the other films.
I mean, they kind of did, and I'm going to get to it later in the trivia, so I'm going to move on a bit before we get really into this. This is the first and last anthology film of the series. This had a budget of $2.5 million. Part of the plot was based on Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I mean, basically, we don't see what happens to the bodies. You can assume it was supposed to be a pod movie, like the 1956 one. And then you've got the whole switching everyone with androids filled with goo. I mean, can you not steal from a great movie?
Well, it really does lend itself to Invasion of the Body Snatchers because we, I don't think Ellie was always a machine. Like, because eventually, later in the film, spoiler alert, we find out that Ellie is a machine, but she acts completely different when Dr. Chalice saves her compared to the scenes that we see her in prior. So I really do believe that their plan was to, replace people with these machines, and then for those that they couldn't replace, they would, the masks, would kill everybody else.
That makes sense. Connell was actually originally supposed to be a 3,000-year-old demon. Did you know that?
Who?
The main villain. He was actually supposed to be a demon, but Tommy Wallace decided to take it out. Again, this is from the original script, and Wallace decided to take out a great point in this movie that probably would have made it better.
Yeah. I don't know if you've ever seen this film, Prince of Darkness, which is another John Carpenter film, but there are a lot of similar vibes to that film. However, Prince of Darkness came later, and in my opinion is a better film. So I think that John Carpenter, in his own way, took what worked in Season of the Witch and then took that over to Prince of Darkness later on, because the third act to Season of the Witch, it's like a lighter version of what the third act in Prince of Darkness is, but the third act in Prince of Darkness is handled a lot better. So
basically what you're saying is he learned his lesson from this movie.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I don't know if that's the same case for Tommy Lee Wallace. I mean, he had a chance to direct Halloween 2, and he felt like that was going to be a big mistake, and then he ends up directing the film that almost sunk his career, which was Season of the Witch.
Right, and actually, that title is kind of very stupid. I mean, I'm pretty sure a lot of people, when it first came out, thought, are they remaking Season of the Witch? A horror movie or witchcraft movie, I should say, from years ago, also known as Hungry Wives, which is basically a bunch of wives taking up witchcraft in a town. And it was literally called Season of the Witch, so I'm guessing, oh, they're making a remake? Wait a minute. This isn't that film. This is a lot shittier.
Well, I mean, like I said, obviously, this is not a completely original concept, but I think it is worth mentioning, the characters that we have in this film, and there are some saving graces. The kills have some brutality to them. Tom Atkins, as always, I think he always plays just a very captivating leading man. He's got this kind of masculinity to him, but at the same time, an everyman look to him. He's not the most handsome fellow, but he also still does not look like a wimp. He looks like he could handle himself in a fight if need be. And then of course, Cochran, just the actor, absolutely excellent in his role, although it could have been written better.
Right. Nancy Kyles is back in this film. That was Annie Brackett from the first and second film. She actually comes back as the main character's ex-wife.
Yeah, and you know who she was married to in real life at the time?
Who?
The director, Tommy Lee Wallace.
Oh, God, I feel so sorry for her that she had to be married to someone that almost basically made the hugest mistake for this series.
Well, it just goes to show how connected, like, it's almost like a family of folks that made these films. I mean, you have Deborah Hill and John Carpenter working with on these films up until this film, and then because of how poorly this film was received, John Carpenter, he took his name off of the film, and going forward, obviously with the new Halloween movie that's coming out in October, he has decided to reassociate himself with the Halloween brand.
Right. We also have Dick Warlock back as the android assassin. We have Jamie Lee Curtis. She has a very weird cameo. She's both the telephone operator on all the phones, and then she's the curfew announcer. I just feel you have her. She was so great in the other movies. You brought her career up, and now you're just putting her in a cameo role, the dumbest one you could think of. I mean, we don't even get to see her face.
Well, I mean, we do when Halloween is playing on the television, but other than that, yeah. Also, going along with cameos, again, Tommy Lee Wallace was the announcer for the Silver Shamrock commercials, where he's like, "Gather round, boys and girls, it's almost time." That was Tommy Lee Wallace. He was also the singer for the jingle that he sang really slow, and then they sped up his voice to make it high-pitched. So he was both the announcer and the singer for the Silver Shamrock jingle.
Oh, I didn't know that. Thank God we're almost at the end of the notes. Here's a fun fact. It got beat out of the box office by both Poltergeist and Friday the 13th Part 3 in the same year.
Wow.
I mean, it just goes to show how well Poltergeist was done compared to this. And then you see Friday the 13th. I mean, yeah, we've had our issues with that movie. We did say it wasn't that good, especially with the 3D. But I mean, look at that. It's stood the test of time compared to Season of the Witch.
Well, Season of the Witch, does have a following. We both belong to the group Killer Flicks on Facebook, and every once in a while that movie gets mentioned. And, I would consider myself a member of that group of fans. Like, I'm not a diehard. Like, I absolutely recognize the flaws in this film, but I do appreciate it for what they were trying to be and for what it was. Like, it does still feel like a Carpenter film. It just, again, well, it's not exactly the same problem as Halloween 2. Halloween 2 there was too much, production interference. The problem with Halloween 3 was they didn't realize who their audience was, and what the audience wanted was Michael Myers, not necessarily, the season. Halloween isn't as important as the killer.
Yeah, but again, there was interference with the writing of this movie. I mean, again, Tommy Lee Wallace came in, asked someone to write it for him, and then he just comes in and, oh, no, let's take this out. They're not going to like this. Let's take that out. Oh, that's not going to make this a good movie. Oh, let's put this shitty scene in. Oh, let's add that Cochrane's just a normal human being supposedly taking up the Celtic witchcraft tradition.
The use of Stonehenge and doesn't that also go into the druid stuff as well. I mean, it seems like this whole franchise is really well invested in Celtic practices.
Right, well, you know what? We're gonna save that explanation for the next few movies because we can't really talk about that unless we're gonna go into the next few movies.
Fair enough.
The commercial, we actually do have a connection to Halloween in this movie. I mean, it's a very small one. We see a commercial for Halloween on the TV screen in the bar. Right before the, Silver Shamrock commercial comes on.
Yeah, and, when Dr. Chalice, is, tied up in the room, Halloween is playing, on the TV before he smashes the TV. Which, I don't know, I didn't like that as the nod, because what they were saying was, in the universe of Season of the Witch, Halloween is a movie. So it absolutely destroyed any way for Season of the Witch to be within the same universe as Halloween.
I mean, yeah, basically it was putting it in this universe, but I guess where it's hard to talk about this movie because my view is honestly it was a very crappy movie, but again, we do have Celtic lore and Sam Hain, like in Part 2. I guess you could say it was kind of a foreshadowing for this movie. And I think they should have put more work into this movie instead of sending it out a year after the last one.
Like, I would like to see them do anthology films with Halloween. And you know who I would put behind it is James Wan, because that is somebody that knows how to world build, but keep it within the same universe. His Conjuring films have multiple spin-offs, and they're all within the same universe. I'd like to see him either produce or direct a Halloween anthology film that others can build onto or do spin-offs with. And then that way you still have the Michael Myers Halloween films, and people can go and depend on getting a slasher experience. And then you have these anthology films that kind of work like how Star Wars has Rogue One and Solo. They're complementary films, but they don't necessarily, they're not exactly the episode films. They're not the staple films. So
yeah, that's a pretty good idea.
Yeah.
But and if you look at the masks, guys, I mean, yeah, the witch mask is a bit creepy. The skeleton mask, I mean, it looks a little too friendly to me, but then there's the jack-o'-lantern mask. I mean, look at this. This is what you want to see on Halloween night as a jack-o'-lantern mask. Not that, let's make him happy, let's make him a lot less scary, let's make it a kill that kid, but, I mean, it didn't really scare me. I mean, it was a lot way too happy for this film. And actually, those masks were made by the Post Company. I believe that's the name of the guy that makes the masks. And because they were on a low budget, I get that they were just buying masks that would work, but kind of sprung for a little creepier or a lot scarier.
Well, I think it's more about, this is 1983, so I don't know. I don't fault them for the masks. I mean, if we were to make this film today, yeah, we would want a lot more detail. We would want a lot more things fleshed out, story-wise and character-wise. But for 1983, I understand what, they weren't thinking about making every aspect of the film scary, so.
I understand that, but, and I'm gonna quote myself, again, this film was a little too silly for me.
Oh, I know you have some fun words about the, you have some words to say about the jingle.
It is the most fucking annoying jingle I have ever heard. Every time it comes on, I'm like, hello, wall. Let me bash my head into you. Maybe that will be a better jingle. I mean, come on. I get...
Yeah, you know how they came up with it?
How?
I forgot who. I think it was Deborah Hill, I believe, that came up to Alan Howard and was like, hey, we have to have this jingle. Actually, no, it was Tommy Lee Wallace that went up to Alan Howard and said, we need this jingle. Can you put something together?
Oh my God.
And he didn't know what to do.
He added London Bridges.
Yes.
My God. I mean, I like London Bridges. I like how scary the actual origin is, but you just made it a whole lot crappier adding this onto it. I mean, come on!
Well, the only reason why they took London Bridges was because it was public domain. So basically, Alan Howard basically didn't want to put the work into creating a jingle, and just took something that was, already out there that they wouldn't have to pay any licensing fees for or pay the rights to. So they're just like, oh, London Bridges is free. Let's just dump something over that.
This film just...
And there wasn't...
It makes me so fucking pissed. I hate it. I mean, it shouldn't even belong with the name Halloween. I get...
You would be like Dr. Chalice at the end of the movie. Turn it off! Turn it off! Turn it off!
And plus, like every time I saw this, I saw it last year, I fell asleep close to the end. I watch it today, I fall asleep close to the end. I mean, it gets boring as he's telling the story of Stonehenge. Make it a lot more interesting. It's supposed to be a movie. It's supposed to entertain. I mean, it didn't even entertain the critics, and they basically said this was one of the shittiest movies. I get a lot of you like this movie, but seriously, look at it from another point of view. Do you really want this to be... Do you really want this to be put in the same subject as all other horror movies? Like Halloween, Conjuring, Insidious, Friday the 13th, all great movies. This one, it doesn't even make it on the scale.
Yeah. You say it belongs on the cutting room floor?
Don't you dare.
Oh, alright. I think the last little bit of trivia that's worth mentioning is that Tom Atkins was sick for the last bit of filming, so all the scenes you see of him running around as he's trying to get to the factory, he's actually like under the weather, and he mentioned in the little mini documentary that they have on the Shout Factory Blu-ray for it, that he was saying, like, you guys better get this in one take, because I'm not going to want to do this again, because they had him running across streets, running uphill, going up, climbing up ladders, all sorts of physical activity that while he was sick was considerable exertion. So
I can understand that. I can't even run. I couldn't even run when I was playing football. It was. I mean, you want me to do what again? You want me to get thrown across the field again? And then run back and do it again? I actually feel bad for Atkins that he was doing this while he was sick. I mean, and even though he was sick, he still gave a what?
Well, I was saying, he was a good actor, and he deserved a better film. Like he was great in The Fog. He was great. He had a minor role in Creepshow, but he was good in that. And he was good in this as well. It's just, unfortunately, the film wasn't as good as his performance. Sometimes people give better performance than even the films that they're in.
Right, and even, actor that played Ellis was really good. I mean, even when she's acting with her head cut off, I mean, that was even really good. And she had to work on such a shitty movie that in the end, I just can't.
All right.
I was literally dreading rewatching this movie today. I kept on telling my mother, okay, please smack me because I do not want to do this movie. This is a very shitty movie.
Well, okay.
My God,
how would you...
Hold on. I'm starting to sound like the nostalgia critic. I literally get how he feels when he's doing these kinds of movies.
Well, okay, so how would you rate this movie then?
3.
Ooh, wow. So we're going to be different on this one. I would put this at a 6.5 or a 7 for me. But it's okay. It's good that we don't always agree. That means that we are representing different factions of the fandom.
But seriously, guys, I'm even sad. Look at this. I watched it off of this, and it's basically in the same... It's a double feature with the third movie. I literally feel sad for this case having such a crappy movie next to such a good movie. I'm sorry, guys. I know a lot of you are probably going to be pissed or talk a lot of shit about my opinion, but you gotta understand, I like gore. I like a slasher movie. I mean, I'm even doing The Conjuring, and I've never seen it, and I've never been a fan of supernatural movies other than Final Destination, but this one literally takes the cake.
We don't want to beat a dead horse.
But this has been the Slasher Club. We'll see you guys on Wednesday. We are doing the Conjuring series, which I've heard is really good. I have never seen any of the Conjuring movies, so it's going to be a new experience for me. I don't know about Cameron. I bet he's seen it before, but...
I've seen every single one of them in theaters.
Well, I guess you got lucky. We actually have a plan, guys. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do Halloween. After Halloween, we're doing Texas Chainsaw Massacre. For the rest of the Halloween season, we'll be doing... On Wednesdays, again, we'll be doing The Conjuring, and then we'll be doing Paranormal Activity. And maybe Demons, if we decide not to switch it out for Insidious. But, I do not recommend this movie unless you literally want to marathon every Halloween movie, but seriously, I do not recommend this.
I can't wait to see your reaction for Part 6 and Resurrection.
I've seen both. Honestly, I find those a lot better than this, but we'll get to those movies later. But, so, this has been Slasher Club. Don't forget to comment, subscribe. We will see you guys on Wednesday. Any final words, Cameron?
No.
Well then, good night, and have a terrifying evening. I know I will with this memory of the season of the witch in my head. Good night and goodbye.